everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the Witching Hour podcast. My name is John Royceland, and before I start, I would like to give a shout out to a newly found listener that is actually local. So to Jessica, my friend out in Denton, who I understand you and your husband are listening. So, not Jessica. I'm sorry, Jennifer. Jennifer Sparks, as a matter of fact. I understand that you and your husband have been listeners, and that means the world to me. Small world that you know one of my BFFs and my next door neighbor, who is an avid fan as well. Anyhow, thank you and welcome to the show. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the 2023 release of Beaten to Death. And before I start, I want to thank writer-director Sam Curtin for having sent me an advance copy. And I also want to apologize for having taken so long to finally get this uploaded. But anyhow, on with the show. Beaten to Death. As soon as I heard that title, I figured this is something I have to at least look into, because this is going to be either an incredible film or one whose name definitely does not measure up, and it's going to be a complete waste of time and an utter piece of shit, basically. But the film, whew, so many words come to mind, and I try to give out like one word to summarize this film, and I can't. Brutal, gut wrenching, heartfelt, beautiful, must see. The storyline is of a young couple, wrong place, wrong time, a drug deal, unfortunately, that has kind of gone bad. And that is a very mild part of the movie, the drug deal. They're a young, desperate couple in need of extreme financial help, and decide to dive in to make a score, turn around, make a couple bucks, and get rich quick scheme. And they run into the wrong person inquiring about such product. I mean, the opening scene, if you've seen the trailer, which most of you have by now, if you've seen the trailer, the opening sequence of that film where in the shadows you happen to see a person on top of somebody else just throwing a punch and repeatedly beating someone, that sets the tone for the entire film. Wrong place, wrong time. This is really, really hard for me to explain, because I don't want to give anything away, because I truly want everyone out there to see the film. It was given a very, very small American theater showing in select cities that I knew I was not going to be able to get a hold of and travel to in time. It is a survival horror. God, this is probably going to be one of the most difficult films for me to talk about. Sam Curtin's vision. I hope he's extremely happy with how it comes out. The film takes place in, I guess you can call it the backwoods or the outback in Australia. The quality of life in the homes, the shacks, if you will, set the mood, excuse me, and almost kind of make your skin crawl. But at the same time, the cinematography, the film is shot, it's absolutely gorgeous. It truly makes you feel like you were there. Survival. I don't want you to think this is like Saw or like Halloween. where someone's trying to run away from Michael Myers. It's not that kind of survival. This is pretty damn real feeling. Um, Survival as well as revenge through the family, the family of drug dealer, mistaken drug dealers. I'm not even sure how you want to word it. Um, the opening sequence of the film, as I mentioned, shows our gentleman getting beaten to death, is what you are led to believe. But that does start the film out. Things arise, things happen, and lo and behold, our gentleman that is getting beaten to death is able to escape. Through that, he runs into family members of that gentleman that was just on top of him, trying to beat him to death. And it does escalate into the purest of survival modes that I can honestly imagine. And it truly felt real. It didn't feel like it was so far over the top and ridiculous. And it wasn't just a splatter fest to make a movie. This was well thought out and just gut wrenching. It truly is. Um, our gentleman, while trying to survive, I will let you know this, is blind. Not born blind. Forcefully became blind while being tortured in this film. So he's running through the wilderness, completely blind. Meanwhile, the gentleman that is after him could be 3 feet away from him, and he knows no different. Uh, all I can honestly say is this film has got to be watched to be appreciated. Um, I reached out to Sam Curtin when I first saw the initial trailer, and I said, I have not been anticipating and wanting to see a film so badly in so long. And that's the honest truth. Now, Sam is not new to the industry. He has, I believe, 4 other films that are out. He does use some of the same cast, which is nice to see. Mr. Curtin, up until this point, was new to me. He's not going to be after having watched this movie, because this is something now that this film is at the top of my list, and I will be watching the rest of his projects that are available. So, with that being said, I definitely hope everybody remembers his name, Sam Curtin, who in the opening sequence of my intro video, that is him standing next to the motion picture, next to the movie poster, excuse me. The film is a full-length feature, runs, I believe, about an hour and a half, so it's average time. The only downside I have to it, and I say this constructively, and I'm not a filmmaker, so I have no right to bitch. The only time that the film felt as it was an indie film was the scenes that had our young couple together. There's something about the quality of film, and it's not bad, but it has kind of that, just has an indie feel to it. That's all. And I can't say that in a bad way, because the acting was fine, the lighting was fine, it just felt different. And maybe that was his plan as well, because the action sequences, the majority of the film, if you will, the film that they used was perfect. The cinematography, like I said, some of it was absolutely breathtaking. The torture scene of our main character becoming blind, as I mentioned, was done in a way that I'd never seen before, and it was pretty damn neat. It does have a gritty feel to it, but not to the sense that it feels like you're watching a home video. It definitely it actually has a very high end feel to it, almost like a Hollywood production. So I definitely commend their cinematographer on this film. Absolutely gorgeous. The landscaping to the scenes that he was able to capture, perfect. Hands down, some of the best work I've ever seen. Anyhow, that's about enough of me babbling on. I definitely hope when the film is released that you definitely take the time to support it. If you are just looking for a slasher film, a rape film, just senseless murders, this is not it. This is a well thought out horror survival film. That's the best way I can honestly describe it. The film will be on my bookshelf one day, or my DVD shelf, whatever the hell you want to call it. Everybody streams. This is something that I will be adding a hard copy of. And to Mr. Curtin, obviously, I want to thank you for sending me the advanced screener. I also want to thank you for sharing your visions to the world, because this movie has scored right up towards the top of my film list, and it will definitely be cherished for a long time. So, with that being said, boys and girls, definitely get out there, support the horror scene. Um, Keep an eye on it if you're not familiar with it, because its big theatrical debut was a couple weeks ago. Uh, so the immediate hype and advertising for it has started to simmer down. But if you're late to the bandwagon, definitely check it out. I know that he does have an Instagram page. Not sure about Facebook, but it is on most social media platforms. Um, Find out where you can watch it, get a hold of it, sit down, watch it. Let me know what you think. Honestly, I'd really like to hear your views on this film. Anyhow, thank you guys for checking in again. I appreciate the watch. As always, Jennifer Sparks and husband or family and friends that are out there, thank you for watching. It means the world to me. More to come. Um, that's about it. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Beaten to Death is the film you are presently watching and listening to. Uh, the Witching Hour podcast. I'm your host, John Royceland, as always, reminding you to keep it evil. Thanks, guys.